And another thing, we have a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, speaking of rentals.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful car, and we rent it out.
Not 3D printed.
Well,
what?
Hi, I'm Reba Hervis, Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions. Welcome to this week's episode From the Wings with Rebecca Leland and our special guest star today, Michael Larson. First, I just want to talk about the area of prop. So what happens when the script calls for something and there's no way you can find it? For instance, the mirror from Beauty and the Beast that is supposed to light up. Well, what do? I mean, most of us don't have a mirror that lights up in a French rose sort of way, right?
Yes.
The first thing you ought to do before you even get started is to research the play, take hints from the dialogue that is going on in the play, what the author has written about what that prop should do. Also research what other people have maybe done for that particular prop. Research the time period. Actually, props, if you want them to be authentic looking, takes a little bit of work to make sure you come up with the right element. So after you've done that hefty amount of research, the next thing you need to do is kind of consider your budget, because you may be able to go online and find an 18th century Victrola.
Which is?
A Victrola?
Yeah.
It's like a record player, but
noisemaker.
like a record player, but that they would spin and it have a big horn.
Victrola.
Look at her learning.
Okay.
So maybe you're looking for one of those, but you go on Etsy or eBay and or antique store, and the things cost $500, and you don't have $500 in your budget. So what else do you do? And so you also need to tap into your network. There are theaters all around your community, I'm sure. So call them and say, did you ever do My Fair Lady? Do you happen to have that you bought? And most of the time, people will be happy to rent for a low price or to loan you things. Most of the time, people want a little bit of money because if there's damages, they have an investment that they're trying to protect as well.
Yeah.
And there are also places that actually will make things for you that you can call. But all of those things take a little bit more money.
And even Overshadowed will rent out pieces. My friend went to a high school production. She opened the playbill and she goes, Overshadowed Theatrical Productions, and they had rented a chandelier from Overshadowed, and they put you guys on the playbill. So it not only helps that production, but it also helps Overshadowed to get their name out.
The thing that has really helped us a lot, and the reason that I have Mike here, is that sometimes you can just make your own, do it yourself. And sometimes things take you a little bit more work than just knitting something together. And how do we do that, Mike?
Well, there's lots of ways, because you could, of course, depends on what the prop is. You could use wood or things like that, but we have found 3D printing to be very, very helpful. Can I do a little show and tell?
Yes, please do a show and tell.
So, Reba, you mentioned the rose.
I did.
Or the mirror earlier, a rose-style mirror. So we did Beauty and the Beast, and I don't know if this shows real well, but this is a beautiful mirror, right? It looks authentic. You could make it any color you want.
Look at the rose. I mean, the detail, I don't know if you can tell, but it's dimension.
You can modify this. We put little lights on the inside so it could light up. See? Don't look too close. So you can 3D print something like this, and you don't need a huge 3D printer because you print it in small pieces and then you can glue it together.
So where are the pieces? Can you kind of tell or not really?
Yeah, you can. So there's a dividing line here across the middle. So this piece was printed and and then
but I mean, you would have to really look.
Never.
The audience would never know.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Fortunately, they're 20 feet away.
Yeah.
Look at this, and you think, well, I need to get a 1950s camera because I have a reporter that's going to go ahead and take pictures. This camera, so we bought one, if you recall.
A real one.
And we needed two. So we bought the one, and then we printed.
This is 3D printed.
This is a 3D printed camera.
And let her hold it, because I think it's just amazing, especially if you pick up a real one with how heavy it is.
Yeah.
It's so light.
Like feather light almost, right?
My word.
The real one has all the mechanics in there for the bezel to go in and out. So, but this to the audience, I mean, this looks authentic. It's lightweight, like you said, and it's relatively inexpensive.
I mean, the detail, like look at the detail from the
zip tie.
No, it's actually a zip tie.
Yeah.
Cut that.
No, but that's incredible.
And another thing, we have a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. Speaking of rentals,
Yes.
and it's a beautiful car, and we rent it out.
Not 3D printed.
Well,
what?
so if you were going to go buy some authentic, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang headlights, this looks like headlights. So there's two of them.
Look at Jennifer.
I did not know that.
one on either side of the windshield, and then two in the front bumper area. This is 3D printed.
What?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a huge 3D printer because, again, you print it in small pieces and then you glue it together. So that's what we do.
I remember the first time I ever went, I think it was to Home Depot. And I went in and there was, they were making one of these tiny little Superman figures.
Yes.
And I was watching them, print it. And it might have even been you. I was with somebody who said, oh, look, we need to get one of those for Overshadow. And I was like, what are we ever going to do with one of those?
Hey, everyone, here's a little mini Superman.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that would be something that we would use in almost every production to get us what we need. They're actually much more stable than the real thing. Like the other things you have to worry about breaking. If somebody breaks this, we'll print another one.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody breaks my camera that I actually paid several $100s for, then that's a different story. It's really, I think, a tremendous resource for you guys. Wow. And if you don't want to print it for yourself, call me. Maybe we'll print it for you and charge you for it. So then, Mike, what kind of, because there's stuff that you buy to print it, right?
What you get is a spool of the plastic wire, I suppose. It could be gray, it could be black, it could be white. And then this prints it just like a printer would. And afterwards, you may have to do, sand some corners off, whatnot. But mainly you're going to glue it together and you're going to paint it the color you want. But it comes out, complete. You can even have some moving parts. We printed some little guns that would shoot, shoot flash paper.
Yep.
We've done that before.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How much would it cost for a theater group, not the printer, but just the spool, to print something like this? Do you have any idea?
I would imagine you could print this for $5 or $10 in plastic material. Probably took 8 hours maybe of printing.
Wow!
But you get the file going and you leave and you come back in 2 hours later and and this is done, right?
And for $5, that's amazing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And that's I don't have that exact number.
But not hundreds.
But
not
right.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know whether you were going to say hundreds.
Yeah,
right. So that's what I wanted to know.
If this were made out of brass or whatever, if you could even find something like this, it would be hundreds, right? If it was authentic.
When you think about the time it takes to 3D print it, the time it takes to research and try to find something and connect with them and try to order it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have to have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Right? And
Or
then
the
get somebody to
coding.
do a file, and then all of a sudden you have something that's beautiful and was very affordable. I would like to encourage you to realize the value of props and to understand that taking the time to get something to look accurate is so important, but that it doesn't have to be accurate, that you have resources available for you. So that is your challenge for today. Until next time, this is just me.
And me.
And me.
Talking to you
From the wings.